If your goal is to master a new language, pass a professional certification, or dominate your university finals, but your strategy is just reading the textbook, you are wishing for success while preparing for failure. You are treating your brain like a storage unit when you should be treating it like a high-performance engine. In the world of the Ascent, we don't care about how much you read. We care about what you retain. Most of you are practicing fluency illusion. You read something, it feels familiar because your eyes have tracked the words before, and you mistake that low-level recognition for actual mastery. It's a lie. You don't know the material, you just recognize the font. The core principle is simple but brutal. Learning should be hard. If it feels easy, you aren't learning. You're just wasting time in a comfort zone that leads to mediocrity. This is the concept of desirable difficulties. According to cognitive scientists, the more effortful the retrieval, the stronger the memory trace becomes. If you aren't sweating mentally, you aren't growing. You must burn these 3 pillars into your mind. 1. Retrieval practice. Recalling facts, concepts, or techniques from memory without looking at your notes. This is the act of pulling information out, not putting it in. 2. Spaced repetition. Testing yourself over increasing intervals of time to defeat the forgetting curve. 3. Interleaving. Mixing up different subjects or problem types instead of doing blocked practice where you repeat the same simple task until you're bored. Science proves this works. A famous study mentioned in Make It Stick involved 2 groups of students. Group A read a text 4 times, the standard wishful method. Group B read it only once and then took 3 grueling practice tests. 1 week later, Group B outperformed Group A by over 50%, despite spending significantly less time studying. This is because the act of retrieval strengthens the neural pathways through a process called consolidation. Group A was just looking at paper. Group B was rewiring their biology. Now, let's see how you apply it in the field. If you are a student, stop highlighting. Highlighting is a passive, low-utility activity that gives you a false sense of accomplishment. It's coloring, not climbing. Instead, use active recall. Close the book and write everything you remember on a blank sheet of paper. Force your brain to dig for the information through the mental rubble. That struggle you feel, that is the sound of your brain building muscle. That friction is the only thing that separates the top 1% from the average. If you're an entrepreneur trying to learn a new skill, say digital marketing, don't just watch 10 hours of tutorials in a row. That's just entertainment disguised as education. Use interleaving. Spend 20 minutes on SEO, then 20 minutes on copywriting, then 20 minutes on data analytics. Mixing related skills forces the brain to discern the nuances and differences between them. It prevents you from autopiloting and leads to a deeper, more flexible conceptual understanding that you can actually use in a high-stakes environment. The elite don't cram. Cramming is the hallmark of the amateur and the undisciplined. It might get you through a test tomorrow, but the information will be gone by next week. The elite use spaced repetition. They review the material 1 day later, 3 days later, 1 week later, and 1 month later. They leverage the spacing effect, a psychological phenomenon where our brains learn more effectively when we spread out our learning over time, allowing the subconscious to knit the information into long-term storage during sleep. If you're liking the video so far, follow and subscribe for more productivity tools and methods to progress every day. Research in the Journal of Experimental Psychology shows that interleaving increases long-term retention by up to 76% compared to blocked practice, where you do the same thing over and over. This is because your brain has to constantly reload the rules for each task, making the memory far more durable. Here is your mission briefing for tomorrow. 1. Throw away your highlighters. They are crutches for the weak. 2. Every 15 minutes of input must be followed by 5 minutes of retrieval. If you read for 15, you test for 5, no exceptions. 3. Mix your subjects. Don't spend 4 hours on one topic. Box them into 45-minute alternating segments. Learning is not an act of consumption, it is an act of production. If you aren't producing answers from your own mind, you aren't learning. You're just a spectator in your own life. Master the method, conquer the material. This is the path of the Ascent.